An animation or web series can be disturbing to what extent? When I ask this question, many of you might think of Happy Tree Friends, a series that once traumatized many. No, I'm talking about something even more disturbing. The source of that disturbing image many of you have seen before, a mysterious and disturbing series with a deep and hard-to-understand story. Boisvert. If you want more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, I leave you with the truly chilling story of Boisvert. The first video of the channel and the series starts with a strange piano melody in the background, giving us clues about the story. Our main character is an ordinary but hopeful person. When you first meet him, he advises things like waking up early, exercising, being productive, and ignoring the sounds coming from the basement during difficult and tumultuous times. Right after giving these suggestions, the piano sound in the background distorts, and our main character can no longer resist the sounds coming from the basement, and we meet the source of the sounds in the basement, the shadow. As soon as we meet it, the sound gets even more distorted, and in an unsettling darkness, we hear it asking the main character questions.
What day it is? When did you last go outside? When did you last see your friends? Your family?
When you watch this video carefully enough, you actually realize that the shadow is not appearing for the first time in this scene, but it has been present in every scene from the beginning of the video. For instance, we see the shadow right from the first scene when talking about waking up early, or when our main character is drawing. We notice the shadow in almost every scene from the beginning. The next video takes place a year after the first one. Our main character opens the video by saying, "It's been a year, and there are significant differences." He continues with his routine, but he's in a worse state. He wakes up, but not at a proper time like in the first video. Instead, he wakes up feeling sad and lost at a time when everyone else has already started their day. Then we are confronted with a terrifying truth. The character, who previously told us to ignore the sounds coming from the basement, is actually living in the basement himself. However, the scary shadow figure from the first episode is no longer there. Our main character looks at the desk he used to use for drawing and creating things, and repeatedly bangs his head against it. Then we face another horrifying truth. Our main character is turning into the shadow himself.
Your school died. Your bargaining as you breathe. You're still in the basement. In flames.
The secret message of the Boisvert channel. If you watch the series with all its music and animations, it may seem like strange animations created by a killer or a psychopath, or you may not understand anything. Don't worry. All your thoughts and theories are very normal, but behind all this chaos, surrealism, and brutality, there is a profound meaning. Toxic happiness and the self-sabotage it causes. In fact, this series is a summary of the modern human being, portraying the consequences of the life imposed on us and the happiness promised as a reward. Every character we've seen since the beginning of the series actually represents an emotion. Our main character represents the ego. The shadow character represents the suppressed, denied, yet constantly wanting to live in a certain form. The humanoid structure embodies human anger. The terrifying character embodies ongoing willpower. The complex character represents the ability to make decisions and common sense that exist in the subconscious. And this whole series tells the story of the struggle within oneself while trying to exist, to know oneself and to individuate. Just think, every day we try to wake up at the same time, to produce, to exercise regularly, to live the happiness dictated to us. But in difficult times, instead of experiencing and accepting the moment, we suppress it and lock it away in the basement, the unconscious. And eventually, our anger towards ourselves breaks our willpower, and then our anger oozes to our shadow. When you watch this series, you can find a piece of yourself in every second. For example, in the first episode, doesn't the struggle of trying to produce while constantly encountering the suppressed shadow resonate with you? Doesn't it remind you of suppressing a part of yourself for the sake of living the toxic happiness and struggling with the willpower to sustain it? In another episode, doesn't the loss of willpower to anger every time you try to maintain toxic happiness remind you of losing to your suppressed shadow? It's ironic that this disturbing content carries traces of human life. Boisvert is content that makes us think about the life we're living. In my opinion, what we need to understand from this series is to accept some situations as they are, to live the moment, and to realize that trying to change the situations you live in leads to self-sabotage. Planning for tomorrow or a few seconds ahead only ruins the moment with its integrity.